football. It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, hope you guys have been enjoying all the content, all the interviews that have been coming out. I really do appreciate all the love and support for the content. It's been great. Great start. It's a great start to 2023. Long day ahead of me today and tomorrow, but you know, this is what we signed up for, so I'm really excited about the future. But anyway, enough of me. Let's talk about this heavyweight division because there is something very intriguing happening at the moment in the heavyweight division. Now, Filip Hrgovic, you know, he's a friend of the program, friend of the channel, and one of the best heavyweights in the world. I don't care what anybody says. I still think he's one of the best heavyweights in the world, and I still think that when it's all said and done, he's going to be lifting one of the heavyweight titles above his head at some point in time. You know, but he can't get that. He can't even get to that point until he gets his title shot. And we know that the IBF and the powers that be in boxing haven't been the kindest to Hrgovic. You know, Hrgovic hasn't had the luck of the draw. Things have not been on his side, right? So now, one of the heavyweights, which is Andy Ruiz, but one of the many heavyweights, the laundry list of heavyweights that turned down a fight for him just last year, is now being positioned to fight him for the interim title in the IBF, and that is none other than Andy Ruiz Jr. Now, as it states right here on BoxingScene.com, you know, shout out to the fine folks at BoxingScene.com, Jake Donovan, Hans Demistode, and the whole staff. They do great work. You know, Jake Donovan reports that the IBF interim title has been ordered between Hrgovic and Ruiz with a 30-day free negotiation period assigned to the proposed bout. So they got 30 days to negotiate a fight. They're both being lined up to fight each other. And for those of you out there, because I know a lot of people are gonna ask, what happened to the Wilder fight? Why aren't we getting Wilder versus Andy Ruiz? Because wasn't that a thing? Well, to my knowledge, you know, it's not a thing. So we'll see what happens. I still think there's a possibility that fight could still happen. But, you know, the IBF has spun the block, and they have decided that this is the fight that they want to make in the intermediate period because, you know, we know Usyk is probably going to fight either Fury or he'll fight Dubois because we know that the sanctioning bodies are kind of working together now, and they rule that Dubois is the first mandatory, not Hrgovic. So if Usyk doesn't fight Fury, then he's gonna honor his WBA mandatory defense against Dubois. So Hrgovic is second in line when it comes to that. So in the intermediate time, which is why they call it the interim title, they want to keep him busy because Hrgovic is a heavyweight, a top heavyweight, and he wants to stay active. And I'm sure, I'm not even sure, I know because I've talked to him, I've been around him, I've talked to him on camera, off camera, and I know exactly where he's at mentally, and I know exactly where he's at in general with his career. And I know that Filip Hrgovic is eager and desperate to prove against a big name that he's a lot better than he showed, and he is not the guy he showed himself to be in the Zhang Zhilei fight. That's for damn sure. But listen, man, I've been seeing everybody talk about this fight, you know, Hrgovic Ruiz. And nobody's giving him a chance. Nobody's giving him a chance. But stylistically speaking, let's talk about it. I think it's a really good fight. I think it's a good fight. I'm gonna tell you why I think it's a good fight. So first and foremost, you got Andy Ruiz, who's a smaller heavyweight. But we know that Andy Ruiz, when he has the opportunity to plant his feet and throw combinations, he does have the fastest hands in the whole division. I mean, combination-wise, nobody is matching Andy Ruiz punch for punch. On top of that, he's also heavy-handed. He's a very smart heavyweight. We've seen in times him be the slugger. We've seen him in his last fight be a bit more of a boxer and mix things up against Luis Ortiz. And it's a good fight. And then when you look at Hrgovic, right, I feel like we haven't seen the best of him yet. You know, I've seen him in the gym plenty, sparring, you know, top guys, you know, are good heavyweights, you know, Lorenzo Medina, Rafael Akabajori, good fighters. But from what I've seen, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but from what I've seen in the gym, I know for a fact we haven't seen the best of Hrgovic. You know, he moves very, very well for a guy of his size, punches pretty hard. He's got a textbook straight right hand that any fighter would love to have. And he's got a jab that's ever improving. So I just think coming off the Zhang fight, the way he had to grind it out them last 6 rounds, you know, I think he can draw a lot from that experience and take it into this fight. And he's pissed off. He's pissed off because he feels like a lot of people were calling him the best heavyweight prospect contender since sliced bread. And then now people are saying he's shit and he can't beat anybody in the top 10. So he's now experienced the ficality, if that's even a word, but the fickle ways of the boxing world and the boxing fans, and he's just pissed off. He's pissed off of greatness, and I think this would be a great fight for him, a great step up, fighting a former unified champion, fighting one of the top heavyweights in the world in Andy Ruiz. And it's a fight, look, I'd pick Hrgovic against most heavyweights in the top 15. I would say I'd probably pick him against comfortably 11 or 12 of the top 50 heavyweights. Andy Ruiz is one of these guys where I feel like he's got some things in his style that could trouble Hrgovic. Hrgovic's chin, even though he survived Zhang, and I give him credit, he survived the Zhang, and Zhang is one of the most murderous punchers in the division. So I think his chin is good enough to hold up against the top punchers in the division. But Ruiz is a bit of a different type of puncher. He's a volume puncher, speed guy, heavy-handed guy. It's a fight where I think Hrgovic is going to have to really use mobility and that reach of his to really run Ruiz into something big. And it's a fight where I think, while it could be stylistically a problem for him, I could also see him being an absolute nightmare matchup for Andy Ruiz because of what he can do. Like I said, moves very well for his size, can punch very hard, improving, I think, as a technical fighter, and just growing as a heavyweight. We know with heavyweights, right? If the history of boxing tells us anything, look at your guys like the great heavyweights, like Lennox Lewis. Go watch Lennox Lewis early in his career. He didn't look great against Frank Bruno when he fought him, but then when Emmanuel Stewart, he got better with time. So heavyweights generally tend to mature as time goes on. In your age brackets of 28 to 30, 31, these are when heavyweights really hit their peak or begin to mature. As to where in other weight classes, guys may mature a little earlier, 24, 25. Hrgovic is at that age now. He's 30 years old. He's got a whole truckload of amateur experience. And I just think the time is now for him to really make some noise in the heavyweight division. And truthfully, look, if him and Andy Ruiz fight, I'm going to get it on record right now. I'm picking him. I'm picking him to beat Andy Ruiz. I think we've already seen the best Andy Ruiz, truth be told. I don't think he's ever going to have a night as good as Joshua. And truth be told, he hasn't had any night as good as Joshua since the Joshua first fight. He didn't ooh us and awe us in the Joshua rematch. He came in out of shape and disgraced the heavyweight title by not being disciplined. Then he fought Chris Arreola in a fight he was a heavy favorite, got dropped, and looked less than spectacular. And then against Luis Ortiz, he dropped Ortiz twice, but in the rounds, apart from the knockdowns, it was a closer fight than most people realize, and he didn't. So what I'm saying is he hasn't had a dominant performance since the Joshua fight, and the Joshua fight was 4 years ago. So I'm thinking, now at that age of 33 years old, Andy Ruiz is on the downslide, and this would be the prime time for Hrgovic to fight him and beat him. And I think once he beats Andy Ruiz, they'd have to give him respect for the way he was able to grind it out in the Zhang Zhilei fight for all the circumstances. Now if he's able to beat him in decisive fashion, then they have to respect him because Andy Ruiz is Andy Ruiz. He's the top guy in the division. There's no ways around it. There's no two ways about it. So, yeah, man, that's what it is. Filip Hrgovic, Andy Ruiz, the IBF has ordered them to fight for the interim title in the IBF. I say if you're Andy Ruiz, right, why not take the fight, All these, I keep hearing all these heavyweights and the whole world discredit Hrgovic to say he's shit, he's not a good heavyweight, he's a bum, he's a stiff. And they can't even get his nationality right. They say Russian, he's Croatian. He's a stiff Russian robot, all this stuff. Okay, well, if he's those things, then why don't you sign the contract, fight him, and beat him? Because if you beat him, regardless of what kind of money you're going to get paid, you're going to make money in the next fight because you will be right in line for a world title shot next. So take the fight. Don't show cowardice ways. 2023, man. Make these fights happen. Look for the smoke. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think Andy Ruiz takes the fight? And on top of that, who are you picking? I know. Listen, anybody out there on Hrgovic? Does anybody out there think Hrgovic can beat Andy Ruiz? I for one think he can beat Ruiz, and I'm picking him. So yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.